Hi everyone, today I'll be talking you through my favourite art supplies. And so a lot of my art uses lots of different art supplies, and part of the reason for that is I gain a lot of fun and play from using different materials. I find it very inspirational. So I hope today, when I'm going through all these different materials that are all very diverse, that it'll help inspire you to try a different material, or at least inspire different ways of using different materials. So my first art material that I want to talk about is this dip pen. This is a Speedball sketching pen. And you can see here, this is an example of one of the pieces I've done with it. I really like the sketching pens because you can see the quality of line is like it's like nothing else I've ever used in terms of a biro or anything like that. So yeah, it really is one of my favorites, just to get all these kind of different lines in this deep text, deep kind of color as well. So what I use it with is I'll just use it with a sort of ink like this, a Windsor and Newton ink. These are really good and come in some nice range of colors. But yeah, it's just really nice to play around with it. I kind of have do a little swatching as well. But you can see that's really nice and smooth, and you can kind of build it up to get more opaque areas. So yeah, that's one of my first favourite art supplies. Going along the theme of pens, which is an ink, which is one of my favourites. I also really like these, they seem kind of quite simple, but these Pilot G-Tech C4 pens I find have a really nice line, and you can kind of build them up nicely. They come in quite a nice range of colours. I have a few here, but I have even more, I think, lying around my house. And just to kind of give you an example of some of the work you can achieve with this, here's some portraits I did. I'm sort of doing the 100 heads challenge. And these were all towards the start of the challenge, so they're not my best, but yeah, I think you can get really nice effects with them. So yeah, I highly recommend those pens. And I like to use the pens actually sort of with these Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens as well. So these are ink pens, and the colour is really nice, but I definitely would recommend them for more line-based pieces rather than when you're doing just solid blocks of colour, which you might use like an alcohol pen for more likely would work better rather than this, because you'd get a bit of patchiness. But the way I like to use these pens is actually with the Pilot G-Tech C4 pens. Obviously these pens also come in quite a few different colours. So I have again another example of a recent work I did with that. So you can see I did these boots here, and I did the brown is in the Pilot pen and the green is a Pitt Artist pen, and it kind of, you can kind of create that two-tone effect with the two different materials. So yeah, that's something I've been exploring as well. And a more recent piece that supply rather, that I've been using is this Elegant Writer pen. Now this is a bit of a new one, but I think it's a really cool one to work with. So this is actually a calligraphy pen. So it's got a slight sort of chisel tip here. Nice line, all looks particularly normal, but you can kind of play around with it. It has an ink that's not water resistant, and you can see here you can use it in a spray, or you could add like a water brush. I really like this water brush, this Derwent water brush, and add it more like directly. But what you can do is you can sketch out like you would with a normal pen, and then just add water where you want to kind of create depth to your ink piece. So you're really manipulating the fact the ink isn't water resistant. Normally you want water resistance, but in this case I think the lack of it actually creates a real beauty. So you could do this for sketching anything like a sort of portraits or anything, but just to create that extra effect I think is really, really cool. And a sort of similar-ish effect that I've been playing around, and I don't actually see this talked about that much, is the Brusho watercolour pigments. They're really fun. So it's basically pigment that comes in this little pot, and what I've kind of like to do is have a little pin in the top to create a hole. And then this is the black, highly recommend this colour, and you can kind of just sprinkle a bit on. You can already see because there's a bit of water on my page. So sprinkle a bit like a salt shaker through the hole. And then this is black, so if you just painted it straight on, it would be black, but you can see, look at all the colours coming out from that. And you can kind of create all these different pieces in, all these different effects in the background of your piece by playing around with pigments. And they have, again, a very big selection of colours that you can work with and explore. So yeah, I just love the play aspect. You kind of realise I'm quite a big kid when it comes to art materials. Another thing I really like is using crayons, going again on the big kid theme. I've seen these talked about a bit more, so you might have come across these Caran d'Ache Neocolour II crayons. So you can kind of use them as a normal kind of crayon, but they are also water soluble. So I take my, can't really see because I've got a bit of the other inks on it, but you can see that kind of blends out. It blends out actually really quite nicely. And then what I like to do is have like a water base, sort of a layer where I've used the Neocolour and then I've added water to create a sort of watercolour base, and then add on texture with a second layer with all different colours, but I don't add water to that. And I think it works quite nicely. And I've got another example of where I've used this in, so in this one here, so in this cockerel here. Yeah, so I think I really like this this piece. You see there's watermarks underneath, so watercolour, using them as watercolour as the first layer, and then adding texture on with the crayons just on their own on the top. And a sort of crayon type material that I haven't mentioned, was a bit maybe not quite crayon like, is these Sennelier Oil Pastels. Now, these are quite posh oil pastels, but you know, they're only a few pounds each, £2 to £3 each if you get them in the right place, so you can treat yourself ever so often. But I like to create sort of two-toned, three-toned portraits with these. I'll see if I can grab it out again. Like this one here is with oil pastels, and you can kind of see it a bit better if I take it away from the camera. They're really nice and creamy. Look at that, it's basically like lipstick going down. Really nice and messy to work with and have a lot of fun. A tip I found on social media, and I will give the right person credit down below in the description box, is because they're quite messy, they will transfer. You can see like, and you don't want to transfer them to other pages on your sketchbook. So what I do is seal them with some kind of, ideally, a fixative spray. Cheap fixative spray is fine. Hairspray is probably fine. And then I use this cheap Modge Podge glue on the top, and that just seals it. So rather than having anything sticky, it's all shiny. And this is honestly like the best art tip I've had ever, because it's just letting me sketchbook with oil pastels. It's just like the best thing ever to kind of to do and have lots of fun with. So yeah, that's pretty much my best and most favourite art materials that I'm really enjoying at the moment. Another one I've been enjoying is this actual sketchbook. So this is it's a mixed media sketchbook from Art Creation. Kind of see here. These are really cheap, and the paper isn't actually the best. You can see it doesn't actually handle water that well, so I may not be showing it off to its best qualities, but at least you can see how it actually is. But it's almost good. You get so many pages, and the fact it's not actually the best paper means that it really does invite a sense of play. These are like some of my worst art I'm showing you, but I'm just having a lot of fun with it. And I think that freedom comes from the lack of pressure, because this sketchbook is just so cheap. I also have the Strathmore Mixed Media sketchbook, which is this one, and the quality is amazing, so it's also something to look forward to. Definitely look into, but doesn't quite invite that same sense of play to the pieces. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. All the supplies will be linked down below if you want to look into anything. And please do like and subscribe. I'll be making other videos like this. And I really do hope you found some inspiration in what I've talked about. Thanks, see you next time.